Good morning, and
Morning.
welcome to another edition of Hello there. Welcome to another edition of Marcus Meets. Today we're here to celebrate the LGBT plus Adoption and Fostering Week. It's an annual charity called New Family Social. I think they set up around 2007, and its message really is to encourage more LGBT plus people to consider adoption and fostering really as a route into parenthood. So it's really about supporting one another in the community, and I think it's great. This year the strap line is to build your family. That's really to give some context to Marcus Meets today. We as a Blue Sky Fostering independent fostering agency are here to support that campaign. And I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled to welcome Kevin and Gary to Marcus Meets. Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
Brilliant. Morning, Marcus. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. So that's Kevin is in the front and Gary at the back. How are you, Gary?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, thank you both for being here today. And really, you know, in terms of the LGBT plus Adoption and Fostering Week, we really want to promote that within our organisation, the diverseness of our foster carers, as indeed we would any of our looked after children. So I think a good starting point, gentlemen, is to really talk to you about your journey into fostering. Can you give us and those listening an insight into your journey and how long you've been carers?
Okay, so we've been carers for 5 years. Previously, I'd had like 28 years working in a bank, and Gary had worked in retail. So for a good many years, haven't you?
Quite a few.
So
complete career changes for you both then.
Absolutely, but the key thing with our previous roles is a lot of those skills are really transferable into the fostering that we actually do. So it was kind of taking up all of the life skills that we'd had and actually transferring them, moving them across to actually looking after our young people. So that's worked really, really well.
Who muted how was that conversation in between you as a couple? Who broached it first and said, you know what, I think we've got the skill, should we consider fostering?
Do you know what? We'd always considered fostering. We've been together 23 years, and the time has to be absolutely right for both of us to do it and actually look after like our young people. So the time, just everything sort of lined up and it just fell into place. And that's how we got on to our journey into fostering. We'd always wanted to do it. We knew we got love in our hearts to like look after young people and actually give people a really great start, you know, journey in their lives. So that was the key thing. It has to be.
And how long did you say you've been foster carers for?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. And so how many young people have you had on that journey of fostering with Blue Sky?
We've just had 2 actually.
Right.
So the youngster came to us in July 2016. We enjoyed a lovely summer together, you know, sort of all when we could, sort of pre-COVID.
Yeah, sure.
You know, down to the beach, you know, sort of family days out. And then the older lad, he joined us in the October of the same year. And he was 13 and a half, the little one was 7. So yeah, it's been really great. They're not siblings, but how we've actually sort of arranged our family is just that they are like brothers now and just get on tremendously well, and that's a credit to both of them. You know, they've really settled down really well. So.
Oh, lovely. It's a lovely story to hear. And I see we've got messages already posted. Rupert, one of our directors, has said what fantastic and outstanding ambassadors for Blue Sky you are, and amazing carers. So I can advocate for that as well. So thank you very much. And Tricia, hello, she's watching. She wants to say hello to you guys as well. And I would say that anyone watching today, if you have any questions, it can be anything about fostering. You know, we are focusing in on the LGBT plus community today. But any questions that you feel appropriate for Kevin and Gary, please do. You know, post them and I'll answer them. So yeah, in terms of facing barriers on your journey of fostering, as you know, you're approved carers, but you're also part of the LGBT plus community. Were there any barriers that you faced on that journey, both being approved or as foster carers?
Absolutely none at all. It was you know, in our hearts we absolutely knew what we wanted to do, and the end goal was to actually provide like excellent service for young people. And we had no barriers, did we, at all? In
No,
terms
not
of
at all.
it just wasn't even in the vocabulary. It just very, very easy. And the great thing about Blue Sky, it just, they just treated us all like individuals. So a big thank you for that. And during our lives, we've seen things when they don't go absolutely right, and actually you take on board all of those learning points throughout your life within our community, and just use those, and actually it gives you an advantage in terms of seeing when things aren't right. And we're old enough now to understand that if something isn't right, we'll highlight that. So it's it was perfect. It was we just got on with it, didn't we?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's worked out very well.
It's worked out really well.
For the children as well as us as well.
Yeah, I mean, we felt really supported from the moment we made the telephone call to Blue Sky. One of the overriding things is that the response was really quick. Other agencies didn't come back even. From the outset shows sort of like the commitment and the support we were going to receive. And I think it's testimony, that we've been with Blue Sky for 5 years, and
Does it feel like 5 years, chaps? Does it?
No. It just seems like a blink of an eye. It's just absolutely crazy.
Well, look, you're getting lots of nice feedback as well. I know Ed, you've worked with Ed as well, and he's just saying again what amazing kids and a family. It's that real sense of family, that we get with you guys. So, yes, Ed does work for Blue Sky. He's not, a member of your family, posting all nice things about you, but he's put there, even if when you took them the Duke of Edinburgh, everything was labelled on them with a name, including the toilet roll. Is that right? I remember that now.
That's absolutely.
Yeah, for those that don't know, we're hugely big on the participation element of Blue Sky, and we are Duke of Edinburgh providers. And I know I've attended the event and I've talked about it before, and one of your young people came on board as well. And can you give a sense of, what did they, was it trepidation when that young person went on the Duke of Edinburgh? Can you say, what did it feel like when they came back to you guys about their experience on the Duke of Edinburgh?
I mean, firstly,
it was very positive.
Yeah.
I mean, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, overridingly, I just want to get out there how absolutely proud we was of the older boy that we look after, and actually the journey and the experience that he had, being someone probably quite frightened in getting himself out there and actually doing things. The Duke of Edinburgh scheme, he just came back a different person. It was just totally transformed him. I just want to touch really quickly what Ed was saying regarding, obviously we had to put names on all of his stuff, and just as tongue in cheek, I did his name inside the toilet roll, and I laughed like a barrel. I thought it's absolutely hilarious. But you know what? That's what families do.
No, and you touched on, maybe was a bit, lacking that confidence before he came away. And I can remember him as one of those colleagues that he was physically drained. It's 2 weeks, it's hiking, it's in the New Forest. And I can remember at one point, physically he was struggling and he had to be carried around for a few miles, by some of his other colleagues within that. But he was an absolute inspiration on that. And so you see a real change. That young man that came into placement on day one, probably wouldn't have done that Duke of Edinburgh. Would that be right? And it was something that he needed that confidence which you gave him.
He just wouldn't have had the opportunities that he's actually had, and it is literally like day and night.
How did you encourage him to do something like that? That Duke of Edinburgh. What was your role as foster carers to get him to come along and sign up for that event? Because we've got hundreds of foster children within placement, and not everybody signs up for that. So,
I mean, do you know what? We just kind of, with anything, we just kind of say, these are the opportunities to you, and we'll support you to the nth degree to actually allow you to do something you wouldn't ordinarily do, in terms of challenging themselves in a safe environment. That's the key thing. And we're just so proud of how he powered through it, with help from colleagues and just the whole experience of doing that is something great for his CV.
Well, I can see him. You said you touched on, is he nearly 18 or he's 18?
He's 18 next
month
month.
of March.
Yeah, and I can see someone like him coming on board when we do it again in post-COVID times, and actually coming along and supporting those children doing that Duke of Edinburgh, specifically the camping element and the expedition side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And alongside that, he's we're talking about someone who came in really scared into our home, and he that he's obviously done talks to new carers as well, in front of like 20 new carers, and that takes some doing.
Can you touch on that a bit more? So I know, people will want to think, okay, when I've got a child in placement, can they be, actively involved? And I know, we do a 2-day skills to foster training module that every foster carer has to do. And what you've touched on, Kevin and Gary, is, did he do a presentation to those prospective carers and assessment about his journey in fostering?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? It's you can read a book, can't you? You can read, someone's journey, but actually it was so powerful for him to be able to talk about his actual journey in front of new carers, and with emotion and how he felt. I sat with him and supported him within those groups, but how powerful is it to actually say, do you know what, and almost admit, my life wasn't where it needed to be, but now it's transformational. And actually I think it was really therapeutic for him as well, just to sit down and have those conversations with new carers. Now,
I mean, that's extremely daunting, isn't it? To sit in front of that many people and talk about his journey in care,
really personal things. We made it really clear that if he didn't feel comfortable, he didn't need to do it. So he's just done this off his own
He
back.
enjoys doing it though.
He enjoys sort of like what it's done for him. It's allowed him to help other people. He actually said, if it just helps one new carer to actually look after someone who was in my position, my job is done. And
I think we have a budding foster care in our midst, don't we? You should get him to call me when he's 18. Give me a call and see what we can do.
Absolutely, just amazing. I can't tell you. Even with the moving sort of within sort of Duke of Edinburgh, even the little one, he's in Sea Scouts, and that's again allowing him to experience really great things like kayaking and orienteering. So all of these extra skills that those organizations are actually allowing him to do in a really safe way is just going to absolutely build on the confidence that he's actually got and grow that confidence. So I would hope the little one will do Duke of Edinburgh when his time comes.
I think it sounds like the older one inspires the younger one. Is that right?
He does, yeah. I mean, we've been incredibly lucky with our young people. As a family, we've enjoyed lovely family holidays and gone out on days. It's been amazing. It's been truly the best thing that we ever did.
Can you touch on, because I speak to a lot of carers that talk about holidays, can I take my young person away? How did that work in reality for you guys? Was it an easy decision? Was it easy for the council to agree that scenario, without knowing the background of your young person? Was it seamless, or was there challenges to get that young person to go away on holiday?
The most challenging part was to actually get the passports, from the local authority, but actually it's down to good relationships within everyone who you work with. So we had a really good relationship with the young people's social workers. So we did most of the work ourselves, completing documentation, and then they obviously approved the passports, and we went up to London. So it was a bit of a day out as well. We went to the London office, passport all sorted, and some really funny and happy memories in doing so. In like the little, and he was really little, and sort of in boots. The chemist sort of being perched up on sort of items from boots, so he could actually see the screen, and the boot staff all sort of like holding him up. He did slip, and he was like really upset because he thought he wasn't going to be able to have his passport. So it was just funny. I always look back on those really funny stories. But we got there, and in terms of, whilst it's really important to have like time away together, or have some time away, we've enjoyed having those family holidays, haven't we?
And they have as well.
Do you know what, we've as a family, the children have seen so many different things as well in their lives that probably they wouldn't have done. We've taken away to Greece, to Turkey, Canaries. So
you're making everyone depressed now, because we don't know what it's like to go on holiday. So we'll look back on this Marcus Meets Facebook Live with fondness, I think, won't we, in years to come, about what that we couldn't go away. But I get a real sense it's just a family, isn't it? It's a family that you have. And so really there was some planning around the passport, but once that was all done, young person was engaged in that opportunity, it was full steam ahead then.
Absolutely, And
you get the letters from the local authority, of course, but
like permission to travel letters for immigration. So obviously, as a family, you go bring children back, and the surnames are different. So to be fair, we've never had a problem getting those letters, and we're really confident in talking to immigration. If there's questions surrounding, why is that? Your boy got a different surname. We're very comfortable with it. But because of we know that if there's we need additional support, we'll go to Blue Sky, ring out of ours. So
fantastic. Well, look, I'd like to thank everyone again who's listening today. I know we've had Becky said hello. There's been Fern who's saying, good morning, Fern. Thanks for listening. Michelle as well. All of you, fantastic. And Ed's got a few questions. And I see Rupert has got a question, and it's to you, Kevin. Did you enjoy undertaking initial home visits? So what that is, after a foster carer, hopefully from this Facebook Live event, calls that number, 0800 035 6499. They come through to myself or my colleague, Kate. We will hopefully enthuse you to consider fostering. And then the next stage is to get a virtual visit from one of our foster carers, which Kevin, before virtual visits and before COVID, you were going out visiting carers, weren't you, as part of that process? Can you talk about that and whether you enjoyed that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's in my nature to actually, I enjoy meeting people. So I really enjoyed that, and meeting prospective new carers, really for the point that I want people to actually have the fantastic journey that we've actually had, and give young people a real chance in life. So I loved it. I did love it.
How does it work with you guys? Are you the primary carer, Kevin, and Gary? Are you the secondary carer? Are you both full-time carers? What?
Well, we're both full-time carers now. So,
okay.
So
Gary, you both gave up your careers then to be full-time foster carers?
That's right.
I was in retail. Kevin was in bed. And had the opportunity to obviously become a foster carer, and I've embraced it and really enjoyed it. But it's completely different to what I was doing, but it is very rewarding, and for the children as well.
I think it goes back to sort of whatever jobs that you're actually doing, or careers that you've been involved in. Go back to what I was saying to start off with. If it's those transferable skills that you can actually bring into the actual mix, and actually make that journey with your existing skill set. So
I think from listening to you guys, and when your young person is sort of 18, I think there's a great opportunity for me to do a Marcus Meets with that, with your young person when they're 18, really, when they're an adult, because it sounds like they're really confident and talking about their journey, really. And so just so nice to hear. And again, thank you, Bridget, Bridget says, well done, guys. Everyone's so complimentary of you both and what you've achieved within Blue Sky, so thank you. Now, how do you, going back to the LGBT plus and why we're here today promoting the campaign around those building a family and really roots into parenthood, how do you feel being LGBT plus carer shaped you as foster carers?
I think, as we're individuals, so, and during our lives, we've seen the right things happening and the wrong things happening. And what it is about sifting the gold from the sand, isn't it? And choosing the really good experiences, but also recognizing things maybe when, the young people, aren't having such a great time. The overriding thing that we do is communicate together. So, and we kind of bounce ideas off of each other and review, sort of using our experience with our personal journeys, kind of review how the day went, and if you could change it, what would we do slightly better, or would we do more of or less of? So I think, from our journeys within the community, it's a real bonus. I think we've kind of we've got the best of both worlds in terms of being able to adapt our own personal experiences to the fostering roles that we do.
Yeah. Are there anybody else within your community of carers that are part of the LGBT plus carer based community there?
No,
I'm not aware.
No.
Do you know what though? Because we just, as people, we just get on with it. Our key aim is, it doesn't matter, if whatever community, the aim goal is to provide that excellent service and care for our children, our family. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if and the interesting thing, I mean, in years to come, our young people maybe, identify as gay or whatever, and it's having that the response, it has making that response absolutely right for them as individuals. It's our family.
And
they can't,
sorry, Kevin, carry on.
They can't, it's about understanding, that everyone's different, everyone is individual. So, we'd use our experience to actually support them on whatever life choice or pathway that they take.
And I've seen a real change. I used to work in the placements team, and young people be referred, and I've been with the business 16 years, and people weren't as open, even young people were open around their sexuality and how they felt and associating themselves with the LGBT plus community. But I know my last few days within the placements team, and indeed the guys that are working there today, it's not uncommon to see a transgendered referral or somebody that's experiencing that or feels that they might be in the wrong body or, associates, being gay. And I think, that's why we're really trying to promote, those carers, those LGBT plus carers that, have that experience and perhaps the trauma that you guys went through in your life in a different generation, going through, and really that leads me nicely on it in terms of young people that they may well have, experienced that oppression or struggled in coming to terms with who they are as a person. And do you feel that being part of the LGBT plus community, has that helped you? Do you think that would help, or any prospective carers in the future to manage those situations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've used our existing, experiences that we've had in our life to actually recognise in the young people that we care for. If you actually, what I'd be saying here is that if you transport yourself into the young person's shoes, and they are, they're scared. They're really scared, and they've had probably a terrible start in their lives. But add next then that they're gay, about being open, having open, honest discussions at their age. So it's about being sensitive enough to actually allow them to come to you, but also cute enough to actually notice if something is wrong and actually open that door to them.
I mean, the one comment I would make about one of the children said, "Oh, what's it like having two men as
yeah,
it's like having two dads."
Yeah,
and he said that's a real bonus.
Yeah. Well,
that's
it's,
lovely.
you know, because obviously we were dropping off doing the school runs, and you know, little, and one of his friends said, well, you know, what's it like having two dads? And he said, I'm really lucky, I've got two dads. You know, but you know what? That's his norm. You know.
It's totally, you know, it's normalised and fantastically so. And which one's dad and which one's daddy then, in terms of the, you know, the young people? Don't they get mixed up, or is it Daddy Kevin and Daddy Gary?
Yeah,
K-pop and Gigi.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Look, we've had another comment from Chris as well, again reinforcing what everyone said about you. You know, great to have you on board. You're super duper human being. So you know, super duper. But you know, do you feel, I mean, you've touched on it really, but are you supported as LGBT plus foster carers within Blue Sky? Do you feel really supported? And if so, you know, why? How? Can you talk about the support?
We've been supported from day one. You know, you don't stay with a fostering agency for 5 years if you don't feel supported. So, you know, if there's any concern, you know, I know that I can go to my supporting social worker and actually have those type of conversations. So it's been great.
Fantastic. And Gary, would you like to add anything around the support?
Oh, I think it's been it's very rewarding. I think the children feel very supported, and Blue Sky equally are very good to communicate with. If there are any issues, then we talk about it, and you know, they obviously come back to us and you know, endorse what we're saying or make comments, and we go from there really. But I think, you know, it's a good all-round partnership.
Was there a moment that you felt, you know what, we made the right decision? You know, when did that happen?
When the first foster child arrived, and obviously we had the second one. It sort of balanced it out, and you know, we did have a few concerns, but then overall it worked out really well for them and us. So,
and you said the key was boundaries, was it, you know, gentlemen? It was around the boundaries that you set those young people when they came into placement. That was the key. If you could give a message to there's carers from the LGBT plus community watching today, carers from the wider community, you know, we want to embrace and get you to call that number. You know, to be a foster carer with us, 0800 035 64499. But you know, is there anything else, you know, to end today? You know, thank you so much for being available and talking about your experiences as part of that community. But is there anything you'd like to say for any carers that are considering picking up the phone today? What you felt before you picked up that phone, that maybe trepidation, you know, what would you tell them? What message would you give them?
I would just it can be really daunting, you know, because you're internally you feel like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? The support that you actually receive though, and actually it reiterates actually you are doing the right thing, and it's been, you know, you're transforming lives, but B, it's so rewarding. You know, I would just urge you just to make that phone call, make that leap of faith, because when you look back, you won't regret it.
You're changing the child's life compared to what they've had in the past, and you know, you're reinforcing the love and support that they need. They probably haven't had before, and I think it's so important. That's the most rewarding part, you know, the children, and seeing how well they've.
I would just say, I totally agree with that. But just pick up the phone. You've got nothing to lose, but so much to gain.
Oh, that's a lovely. I think that's the perfect way to end it. You've both been, you know, certainly inspiring to me. I know you'd have been inspiring to other people watching today. So, look, gentlemen, thank you so much for talking about your journey of fostering as LGBT plus carers. If you'd just like to say goodbye to everybody, and as I said, pick up the phone and make that call. So, thank you so much, Kevin and Gary. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank
you very much.
Get darling.
Take care, everybody.
Get darling.
Bye.
Bye.